Hey guys, what's up? It's Pagey here once again with another review for The Flash Season 2. Now this is for episode 13, aka Welcome to Earth-2. Now this is part 1 of a 2-part arc over there on Earth-2, so look forward to next week as well for Escape from Earth-2, that's the actual title of that episode. But before we get into the review, I will actually be doing a separate Easter eggs video in more detail for this episode. There were so many Easter eggs, references, doppelganger moments, it was just amazing. I'll mention a few in this episode, but there will be a more detailed video, as I said, coming later on. Spoiler alert as per usual, but let's get into it. So the episode actually starts off with Harry making his last vocal journal entry, I guess you could say, on Earth-1. Meanwhile, Barry is actually running around Central City, closing the rest of those breaches which he and Harry had started doing last episode. Now the team then prepares to go to Earth-2. Jay gives them some warnings about what they will see over there and to not get too distracted by it. And they actually tell the team staying on Earth-1 to close the breach after 48 hours whether they are back or not. Now when Harry, Barry and Cisco go through the breach, we actually get a look at a different Green Arrow, which I'll get into detail in that Easter eggs video. The 1990s Flash, aka the one that Barry's dad in the show actually played. And then we also get Supergirl. This is probably just put in because of the Supergirl crossover that's coming out soon. Now as they leave, the speed cannon actually breaks, so if unfixed, they will be trapped on Earth-2. Now as they arrive in the breach bit, we actually see Gorilla Grodd and Jonah Hex as well. Now Barry, Harry and Cisco arrive on Earth-2 and it looks quite retro, which I did talk about in my trailer breakdown for this episode. So Cisco tries to use his vibe powers to try and locate Zoom, which really was their key. Like it was like, okay, we'll get there, use the vibe powers, find Zoom, easy peasy. But Earth-2's frequency actually doesn't allow them to work, so they're sort of up sheet creek without a paddle. Now Barry finds out that he is still a CSI on Earth-2 and retrieves him to help them along their way. Now Earth-2 Barry Allen is actually a massive Harrison Wells nerd, which actually, if you remember at the beginning of Flash, Earth-1 Barry was actually a massive Harrison Wells nerd as well. But anyway, Earth-1 Barry takes Earth-2 Barry his clothes and stuff to pretend to be him to get questions on Zoom from the police department. Now when Barry gets to the Central City Police Department, we see a lot of Earth-2 versions of Earth-1 characters, which is pretty cool. We find out that Barry and Iris are actually married on Earth-2, and Iris is the Detective West that certain characters were alluding to previously. We then cut to Killer Frost and Deathstorm taking out some fellow criminals in the name of Zoom. Barry and Iris get home and Barry has a missed call from his mum, so he finally gets to speak to his mum as an adult. So this is like the tearjerker of the episode, I guess. Barry gets to meet Earth-2 Joe, who hates Barry, which is really surprising, which even Earth-1 Barry is shocked by and just like, whoa, this is a bit weird. Now back on Earth-1, yeah, we're going back over to Earth-1 for a bit. There is a new metahuman, Geomancer, who is on the loose. Now Joe wants Jay to use Velocity 6 to try and stop him. But we find out Velocity 6 is actually what is killing Jay, that he'd actually previously used it to try and increase his speed, but actually ended up taking it away and sort of stuffing him up. Now back at the Jitterbug, where it's the place where Joe works, sort of like Jitters, the coffee shop, but it's called the Jitterbug, Killer Frost and Deathstorm crash the party. Now Deathstorm actually hits Joe with a fireball, and Barry manages to scare Killer Frost and Deathstorm away for the time being. Now at the hospital, Joe actually dies, but before he dies, he tells Barry to take care of Iris, and essentially almost accepting him, so it's weird that the Earth-1 Barry is experiencing that rather than the Earth-2 version. Now Earth-2 Central City Police Department prepares to take on Killer Frost and Deathstorm, while Earth-1 Central City Police Department track Geomancer. Now Jay Garrick speeds in to stop Geomancer, and I was like, whoa, he's back. And it obviously turns out that he's taken Velocity 7, so Caitlin's improved the Velocity formula, but unfortunately it still wears off, and Joe actually has to shoot Geomancer, and not a kill shot, but to harm him, to actually stop Geomancer from killing Jay. So Cisco, Earth-2 Iris, and Floyd Lawton, yeah, he was in this episode. I was going to mention him in my Easter eggs video, but I thought I'd mention him here. Actually investigate the area where they think Killer Frost and Deathstorm are at. Now they pop out and we find out that Martin Stein is actually still trapped inside Ronnie, but has gone all quiet. All of a sudden, in this area, Earth-2 Cisco is revealed, and he's actually the one working for Zoom. Now Earth-2 Cisco is called Reverb instead of Vibe, which Cisco has a crack at. It's like, it's an okay name, but it's nothing that great. And he actually informs Cisco that he could be much more powerful than he thinks with these powers. So Reverb actually shows some of these powers, like basically like shooting vibrations out of his hands. Sort of similar, oh no, not really similar to Geomancer, but you know what I mean. Now Deathstorm and Reverb actually start bashing Barry with their powers, almost killing him before Zoom actually shows up and kills Deathstorm as well as Reverb, just so you know, the vibrational hand through the heart and through the back. So Zoom actually keeps Killer Frost alive but takes Barry with him. So I think Killer Frost will actually help the Earth-1 crew next episode. I think that's the unexpected source that's going to help them. Just the way that I think she's going to realise that maybe being bad isn't that great. So the episode actually ends off with Barry waking up in Zoom's prison, and Zoom tells him that this will be the last place he will ever see. Amazing episode, guys. All the Easter eggs and references and doppelgangers were amazing, but as I said, I'll do more detailed video on that later on. I'll try and get it out as quick as I can, but I'm not making any promises in regards to a time frame. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to check that out. Next week we'll continue on from this episode, so it will be easy to review it once this arc is over, especially we'll see how it ends on Earth-2. My favourite part of the episode will just be all the Earth-2 versions of Earth-1 characters. It was just awesome to see. Earth-2 Barry, in my opinion, will be used a lot next episode, seeing that Earth-1 Barry is locked up, so they'll probably use him either as just like almost like a decoy, sort of confuse people. I'm not too sure how they're going to do it. But leave your favourite part of the episode in the comments below. Leave what you think. What would you give it out of 10 or a 5 or something like that? And leave any Easter eggs that you saw, because I saw quite a few, and I'm going to watch the episode again straight after this and see if I can find any more. I found like heaps, so this video should be pretty good to watch. But if you saw any, leave them in the comments below if you want to help out with that video. But as I said, leave a like if you enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.